I'm Kara Morgan. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Election Conversations. And today I am with Don Gomez, who is running for County Commissioner position 2. Hi, Don.
Hi, Kara. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. So, Don, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I'm currently the publisher, the founder and publisher at Stern Castle Publishing. We are a locally based, independent, traditional publisher with a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and creating opportunities for publication for people that identify in various protected classes, be that Indigenous, Black, Latino, LGBTQ, veterans, all of those groups that have been historically underrepresented in mainstream publishing.
And tell us a little bit about what got you interested in becoming a county commissioner.
Sure. So prior to COVID, I was in the content marketing business, and I served a number of campaigns from school board on up through state offices. And I always really enjoyed the political process, especially learning more and especially the opportunities it created for me to be involved and active in my community. And so the reason why I decided to run for county commissioner is to bring some of that experience to Lincoln County in order to do a really good job for our neighbors.
So tell me some of the things that, if elected, you would focus on.
Sure. So some of the biggest issues facing this county are housing, healthcare, infrastructure, and of course, protecting our environment. The main one, of course, is the housing. We all know that that's a big issue here. And what I would like to do is to make a difference in that regard by creating more interlocal partnerships between the county, developers, and nonprofits in order to make some of those affordable housing opportunities happen. Now, there are a number of county-owned lots that are zoned residential and that are as yet undeveloped. So in my mind, unless Lincoln County intends to get into the real estate business one of these days, what we should be doing is putting those lots to work for working families and create some of those housing opportunities. And like I said, I know we don't have the resources in and of ourselves as a county, but if we create the right partnerships, we'll be able to make that happen. With regard to healthcare, again, that goes back to housing. And I've heard it said here by a lot of people that yeah, you have to go to Salem or Eugene or Portland to see the doctor, but that's the cost of living by the water. Well, I'm here to tell you that there's folks that live in Hawaii and they have the number one healthcare system in the country, and they live by the water, and there's not a shortage of specialist medical care. And I think it's really disturbing to me that we have such a large aging population, that we have a very high percentage of service disabled veterans. And those people are expected to travel 2 hours or more just to receive the health care that we need. We need to make sure that they get the care that they need right here at home. And that's never going to be able to happen until we improve our housing situation, because those doctors and their staff need housing across the entire price range in order to meet their needs. I've recently spoke with a nurse at Samaritan who's living out of an RV because her family wasn't able to find suitable housing. Her husband and her kids are still in another state, and this poor woman's working 12 hours a day and then going home to an RV. And I just think that that's completely unconscionable, and that needs to change. And it's not just nurses; it's teachers, it's our hospitality workers, it's people, like I said, in all professions that really boost up our economy. They're suffering this way, and it's recently been determined that the majority of our income here in Lincoln County comes from what are called transfer payments, and that's Social Security money to retirees, that's disability payments to folks on disability, and that's actually outpacing the amount of wages that come from employment. So that says to me that people aren't able to live and work here successfully, and we need to change that. The third priority of mine complements the first two, and that's, of course, rededicating more of our resources to infrastructure improvement and enhancement. We're going to need, for these new developments, we're going to need sewer. We're going to need to get electricity out there. And of course, there are some new bills that just came down recently from the state level that are going to help with that in some regard. But again, this is something that those community partnerships can shore up. And we also need to be looking ahead toward the future, there are a number of local environmental groups that are pushing for a climate action plan. And that climate action plan has a goal of Lincoln County being carbon neutral by 2035. And as we build, we need to build towards that goal. And I think that that's something that we can meet with a concentrated effort. And finally, of course, protecting our environment. It's so important to us here on the coast. Everything, our entire economy is predicated upon our environment. Whether you're looking at our commercial fishing fleet or you're looking at tourism, these are our two main industries here. And even if you're not the kind of person that is ready to believe that climate change is real and desperately affecting us, take it from an economic standpoint, that if we had an economic or an environmental disaster here, it would also devastate our economy, our small businesses, and just the number of people who live here and rely on that. So protecting our open spaces while we prioritize some additional development is very important. And we recently had a bill come down in the state legislature that is going to make it, it's going to give us the ability to expand our urban growth boundaries, but also it made sure to kind of lock in zoning designations that are already there for high value forestry and agricultural lands. So those areas will be protected. And what I'm looking to do is to create infill opportunities and position some of that new housing close to services and to put those people in a neighborhood so they're not just out, say anywhere in the county.
And let's talk a little bit about what challenges you see that the county faces.
Sure. And the truth is that our county faces a number of challenges in meeting these goals. We're a small county, we're semi-rural, and we don't have the largest budget in the world to meet these challenges. Thankfully, in my prior experience in the Marine Corps, I served as a financial resource analyst, and my duties were to prevent the fraud, waste, and abuse of taxpayer funds. And I'm also skilled in budget preparation, execution, and auditing. And I think that these skills will help me to do more with the limited resources that we have in order to create this sustainable future and improve quality of life that I want to bring to Lincoln County.
All right. And why should someone choose you in this election over someone else who's running for county commissioner? You've got a lot of competition this year.
That's a great question, Kira, and you're absolutely right. I would encourage people to vote for me because I have been around. I have seen how other municipalities around the country and around the nation are confronting problems. I'm not afraid to look outside of our own boundaries for solutions. But I don't think that anybody's counting on the Oregon coast to solve the worries and troubles of the day. But what we can do is look at what's working elsewhere and bring those programs home. And what I'm seeing on our Board of Commissioners so far is a reluctance, I guess, to embrace some of these opportunities, right? This doesn't have to be all on our shoulders. But like, for instance, with the housing, there is a program that started in Colorado called the Deerfield Fund. And what the Deerfield Fund does is place families that are on the edge of homelessness into situations where they become first-time homeowners, and that's through private-public partnerships to make that happen. And at the end of the day, that saves counties money because otherwise, this is money that comes out of our public housing authority. In order to take care of these families, they can be on these programs for years as they try to get their housing situation stable. So as we create some of these new homes, I would like to see some of these new homeowners in them. And these sort of opportunities have been available to our commissioners, and they just haven't taken advantage. And another reason why I would encourage people to vote for me is because of the short-term rental issue. Now, right now, there are 495 licensed short-term rentals in the unincorporated areas of Lincoln County. Recent caps have pulled that number back down to 181, but we're not going to be able to claw those licenses back. That's already been determined by the Land Use Board of Appeals in response to a 2021 ballot initiative that sought to do just that. So we can't just take these licenses back. We're going to have to get more creative. We're going to have to raise our licensure fees. We're going to have to raise our inspection fees. And we're going to have to make sure that at the end of the day, those businesses at least benefit the county and don't end up costing us money. The truth is that it does put a significant strain on our housing market. That would be, you'll have to excuse me, I'm more of a right brain guy, so math isn't my strongest suit, but that sounds like about 300 odd houses that would be returned to the market if we could get back to our caps. But since we can't force that to happen, the growth is important. But where it concerns this election, I think it's important for us to understand that our previous commissioners, including one of my opponents who's still there, really dropped the ball in regard to short-term rentals. Airbnb didn't become a thing until 2008. My opponent, the incumbent, had already been a commissioner for 4 years when that happened. And we didn't have any kind of regulation at all until 2018. That's a full decade where action could have been taken, and it just wasn't. And while I applaud recent efforts on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to try to get the problem back within our grasp, it's just a symptom of what's going on here in a larger way, that we need new leadership who's going to be more responsive, more innovative, and more focused on doing a better job, because the truth is the problems that we have are continuing to mount. And if we don't do something about them now, we're not going to be able to in the future. If it's already expensive for us to confront these problems now, there's no way we're going to be able to confront that in the future.
All right. Well, thank you. Is there anything else, Don, that you would like to add as we wrap up?
Yes, there is. So as I mentioned, I'm the founder and publisher at Stern Castle Publishing. I'm a Marine Corps veteran with experience in governmental accounting. And I also have a ton of experience in legislative advocacy on behalf of veterans and military families as a communication director for National Veterans Group. One of my goals for office, if elected, is to work with what's called the Association of Oregon Counties. And this is a governmental body that is basically the lobbying arm of county government in Oregon. And each legislative cycle, they set priorities that they want to advocate for our legislators to do. And so I think with my prior experience in legislative advocacy, I'll be able to be a real force there in order to raise our voice here on the coast and get us the attention and respect we deserve at the state level.
And if someone would like some more information about you, where can they find it?
Thank you for that opportunity. Yes. Anything you want to know is on my website, votedongomez.com. And you can reach me via email. You can find out about my social media. You can ask questions, and really encourage you to check it out. Again, that's votedongomez.com.
All right. Thank you so much, and best of luck in the upcoming election.
Thank you so much for having me, Kara. Really appreciate it.
I'm Kara Morgan, and this has been Election Conversations. Thanks for joining us.